on WOCA 1370 AM and 96.3 FM, The Source.
Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA. Ocala!
All right, 5 minutes after 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. A couple of years ago, we stumbled upon something, and I need to stumble upon it again. Let me tell you what I'm talking about. A couple of years ago, Robin and I were involved in this fundraising campaign for the Marion County Literacy Council. Mm-hmm. And there were other people. We were competing against people. It's kind of a game that they have where the person who raises the most money gets to kiss a horse, right?
Yeah.
So we were up against people who were like gazillionaires in town, and I drive a car that's 10 years old.
Yeah.
I live in a very modest home, and these other people could just write a check and beat us. So we were supposed to go out and raise money and actually beat them. And so we went on a bicycle ride one day, and we were tired. So we sat on the grassy hill right next to the bicycle trail, and I was looking out and I was thinking, gosh, I could be the richest man in the world, and this moment wouldn't feel any better than it does right now. I don't know why I'm so obsessed with this whole idea of raising the most money for this competition. Mm-hmm. Why don't I just let the rich guys win, and I'll just look, I am as rich as a man can be right now sitting here on this grassy hill. And then you said, yeah, but that won't help us kiss the horse. That won't help us get the money. And at that moment, there was this like lightning bolt that went off in me, and I said, okay, I don't care what we have to do. I am going to figure out a way to win this stupid thing. Okay?
Yeah.
So we did, and we created this publicity stunt, and it got attention, and people started sending us money. And next thing you know, we had $3.47 more than the number 2 person who happens to be a gazillionaire in town.
Exactly.
And so the Davids won the Goliath, or whatever the thing was. But all's well that ends well, because the money goes to a good cause.
All the money goes to there.
Well, whatever I stumbled upon that day, whatever we stumbled on, was really a collective thing. Maybe it's actually not a stumble. Maybe there's a way to do it intentionally. May L. McCarthy may have the answer to that question. She has written a book called The Path to Wealth, 7 Spiritual Steps for Financial Abundance. And maybe we can apply it to our personal lives as well as raising money for organizations. She's an inspirational speaker, an entrepreneur. I've already got a buzz just knowing I'm going to speak to her. It says here she's an active angel investor, and I always wanted to be one of them. She advises a variety of startup companies, and she serves on boards for philanthropic arts and educational services. She's got a long, long list of credentials. And if that's her, she's beautiful. Look at her.
She is beautiful.
May L. McCarthy. Good morning, May.
Good morning, Larry. Good morning, Robin.
Where are you? Where are you calling from?
I'm actually calling from Tucson. I live in Seattle, but there's a Tucson Book Festival here tomorrow that I'll be signing books at.
Oh.
And also yeah, should be fun.
So the title of the book would get anybody who wants to make money to pick it up. But obviously between the covers of the book, you have some really common sense things, don't you?
Oh, gosh, yes. Wealth to me doesn't mean just money. Certainly financial abundance gives you freedom. But wealth can mean anything. It can mean right relationships, good health, great job.
That's right.
Fulfilling and fun use of your time. It can mean anything. So the steps that are described in the book can help you to achieve whatever you consider to be a goal in your life.
But and I've thought this many times, but the one big difference between having financial wealth and all of the other wealths is that financial wealth is the only wealth that you can easily share with everybody else. It's hard to share. It's hard to share your health.
Well, your family would disagree with you on that, because if you're healthy, you get to stay around and you get to enjoy time with them.
Good argument. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
So,
but you're right. Most of the ancient and wise teachers, including all of the major religious faiths, will say that wealth is a good thing. But somehow, because it allows you, it's a virtue, it allows you to be able to do exactly what you just said, which is to share with others and to uplift others and to help support others. But somehow that has moved out of our norm, and wealth is looked at as something that is unobtainable and often can produce some jealousy between people.
And we have, for some reason, made wealth out to be a bad thing. It's almost as if you have a lot of money, you must have done something wrong.
Yeah, and I don't get that. I wrote an article on that, trying to understand why people believe that, and I think that they're taught that. But just as they were taught to believe that, they can also be taught, especially with the use of the 7 steps in my book, they can be taught to change that idea of money. Money is simply a tool and a vehicle to exchange value fairly.
Were you born with a silver spoon? Were you born into a rich family?
I actually was born and raised in Hawaii.
Oh,
That's good. It's a good place to start.
Yeah. Actually. I'm the last of 10 children, so we had to develop great sales and negotiating skills very early, just to be...
Does tithing play an important role in your life? I mean, we know you give your time, to the different boards and things, which is which is really, really good. But how about monetary tithing? Does that play an important role, and should people follow that?
I do. I am a tither. I am a philanthropist. I donate a lot of money, simply because I have it. But here's the interesting thing about giving, and this could be giving money or giving anything. And there's a chapter in my book that I call Jumpstart Your Good. And that simply means that if there's anything that you feel that you're lacking, anything, and if money is one of those things that you feel you're lacking, figure out a way to give some consistently. It doesn't have to follow a formula. You should never give if it's really putting a strain on you. But there's probably some small amount that you can give consistently. Where you choose to give it is wherever you feel uplifted and spiritually fed.
So let's talk. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I wanted to talk about the spiritual part. You say 7 spiritual steps for financial abundance. What if we took away the word spiritual? 7 steps for financial abundance. Is there a difference?
No, but there is, because you're relying on a component that many successful people like Bill Gates, Oprah, Steve Jobs, Dr. Wayne Dyer rely on, and that's something that I call intuition. So you're relying on a unseen messaging source. And scientists will tell you that the same cells that are in your brain are now found also in your stomach and your heart. So all these neurons that we use for thinking are also located in your stomach and heart. And that may be why you get that instinct or a strong feeling in your heart about to do something or not to do something. And so the spiritual part simply is because you're relying on something you can't see, which is intuition. Bill Gates says he has to rely on intuition almost daily. And Oprah says the only time she gets in trouble is when she doesn't listen to that still small voice. So the spiritual aspect is simply that you are relying on something you can't see. But as you have a relationship with it and you practice these daily steps, you will begin to notice when it's helping you and how to interpret the messages.
How do you keep from being overwhelmed? Because you have to go out and be good to people. You have to provide for your family, and sometimes it just seems overwhelming to be to do all of that without it taking a toll on you emotionally.
Yeah, I feel that. Many people, and myself included, can have periods where we feel overwhelmed. And with these 7 spiritual steps, what we do is have a practice, almost like a daily meeting. Maybe before your show, you two have a daily meeting about your goals for your show. So I ask people to have a meeting using an agenda for 30 minutes a morning, every single day for 30 minutes, could be less, could be a little more, that puts the goals that they have at the forefront of their thoughts. And there's a specific technique to do that. But as you're going throughout the day, you always have these goals that you've revisited so that you can see opportunities to make them true. This is a successful goal attainment technique that most successful people use. I ask people to use it in a really easy format and in the morning, but to do that every single morning. And that seems to help keep a more consistent level of peace, because you're going for something instead of just reacting to something.
Oh.
Let's take a little break and we'll be right back. There's so much I want to know. Obviously, the book will be the answer to the questions, but I have a few more that we can get in on the air, and we'll do that when we come back. May L. McCarthy is our guest. Her book is called The Path to Wealth. I just went to your website, by the way. I'll give it to the listeners real quick if they want to go during the break. It's how do you pronounce it? Bizalts?
Bizalts. Or you could just go to maymccarthy.com, and it'll direct you there as well.
So it's BIZZULTZ or maymccarthy.com. We'll take a little break and be right back.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. Clouds will limit sunshine today. It'll be warm with a shower in places, the high 80 to 84. Partly cloudy tonight, low 63 to 67. Tomorrow, partly sunny with a chance of an afternoon shower, high 82 to 86. On Sunday, clouds and some sun with a shower or two in the afternoon, the high 80 to 84. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
Here's what you may have missed on the John Tesh Radio Show.
Do your inhale and exhale for a count of 5. Repeat that a few times, and you'll feel the stress relief immediately. If you've ever wondered if the woman in your life is a mind reader, well, she is. It's not because she has supernatural powers. It's because women are a lot more intuitive than men, much better than us. If you like raw fish, get an order of sashimi. You get a good dose of protein for 1/3 the calories of a specialty roll.
Intelligence for your life on the John Tesh Radio Show. Don't miss this stuff.
Good credits, bad credits. It's none of our business, because we're not an auto dealer. We're not a bank. We're not your mother. We're OcalaForSale.com. Marion County's marketplace for cars, trucks, and SUVs. We've got thousands of sellers standing by to take your call. No middleman. But hurry, don't walk, don't run. Just sit down and log on to OcalaForSale.com. Prices and inventory change daily. Offer does not include dealer upcharge. Undercutting, rust-proofing, factory surcharge, or delivery fee. See website for details.
All right, 17 minutes after 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. I'm looking through the website. Boy, she really is a pretty lady, Robin.
Yeah, she is so vivacious, genuine.
She's going to teach us how to win this thing and kiss the horse this year, right? She's going to help us understand this.
Yep.
and then we'll keep applying that afterwards, and then go buy a new car or something. May L. McCarthy, The Path to Wealth. Okay, so can we maybe get some free tips right now? What can we do? It says secrets about intuition that'll help you get rich. How do I fine-tune my intuition?
First of all, you have to recognize that there is a source.
I got that. Yeah, I believe that.
Right.
Yes.
So that's your first tip. And the second tip is that you have to work with it every day to develop a relationship the same way that you would with any friend or human being. You have to actually consistently meet with it on a daily basis.
How do you do that? How do you do that, specifically you? How do you do it?
Well, the first thing that I do is I wake up in the morning and then I spend 5 minutes, just up to 5 minutes, reading something that puts me in a receptive mood. And what I mean by that is reading stories about ordinary people having extraordinary events. These could be business books, these could be spiritual books, these could be books about your industry, but somehow seeing that they're having some success.
Okay.
And that puts you it elevates you into a mood that you're receptive. The next thing that you do is you write out a gratitude letter. I am so grateful for all these things that I have. And I am so grateful for all these things I want, as though I already have them. You're in this partnership with this source of intuition, and you're being grateful.
So you literally write a letter, like to God or something?
You can call it God. I call mine the chief spiritual officer.
But I mean, there's actually a pen on paper.
A pen and paper.
Okay.
Every morning, up to 10 minutes.
Where do you send it?
Or you just keep it in a journal.
Oh, just keep it. Oh, in a journal. Okay. All right.
Right.
I'm going to do this. I'm going to see if it works.
Yes.
Have other people done this, and does it work?
Oh gosh, yes. I've trained hundreds and hundreds of students. That's how this book came to be. They kept asking me to turn the workbook that I gave them into a book, which seemed like a really impossible thing at the time. But as you can see, it actually manifested because I use this technique myself every single day.
So you don't call it...
write a gratitude.
So you...
I call mine the... Oh, sorry.
The chief or something?
Chief Spiritual Officer, or CSO.
Well, that makes sense. That's what God is. Same thing.
He is.
I think God would be the Chief Spiritual Officer. Okay, so I got that far. First of all, I really think that's true. I mean, there's been times probably in all of our lives when you kind of say, "Gosh, I just did that out of my gut instinct, and I'm so glad I did it."
That's right.
That I get, okay. And then the second part, reading something, I guess that happens to me. I get pumped up by reading inspirational things. So I got that. I just got to find that whatever book is going to do that for me.
Yeah.
And then the third part is to write down a thank you note to Jimmy Fallon or something.
Yeah.
Just write a thank you note. I'm just being silly.
No, what you would do is be grateful. Just, I am so grateful for, and all the things that you already have that you are grateful for. Your good health, your friendships, your job, all these things. And I'm grateful for these things that I want. I am so grateful for my new house that has enough room for my family and I to have wonderful, comfortable living space. I'm so grateful that I now work with people I enjoy and everybody has a harmonious relationship. I'm so grateful that I have lots of money left in my bank account after I pay bills at the end.
I don't have that.
How do you, making decisions for oneself is the hardest thing. I mean, you can decide for your children when you're a good parent, what they should or shouldn't do, but to actually make the decision yourself to move forward and that decision will make you, feel either worthy of yourself and what you're doing, or that you don't deserve it. How do you get over that hurdle?
Well, that's what I would call a mental equivalent, or a belief, a very strong belief that you've been trained with. And in my book, I refer to these kinds of things. First of all, you have to recognize that it's there. But I refer to them almost as boulders on the pathway to your wealth. Boulders on the pathway. They're trying to block your way. And there are techniques that you can use with word statements, consistency, and always remembering what you're for, the things that you want, versus focusing so much on the things that you can't have. And there are some techniques that you use with words, thoughts, and emotions to be able to obliterate those boulders that are on the pathway.
Gosh, I love it.
And we've all known people who were negative and just didn't believe in themselves. So I can see that on both sides. People who are always positive and very confident, and those who are the exact opposite. So, yeah.
Well, a good example would be if you were consistently saying things like, I hope I'm not going to be late to my appointment today. Or you could say, I always arrive at my appointments on time or early. Chances are the person that hopes he's not going to be late for his appointment is going to be late. Because he's focusing on that aspect, being late. Whereas the person that is saying, I am so grateful that I always arrive early or on time to my appointments, he's focusing on actually being on time. So our subconscious works with us to produce whatever we're focusing on.
I believe that's true. Yeah, but we got to work it. In other words, boy, you've got nice hair. I'm looking at your video. You have pretty hair.
I know, it's just a killer.
Your hair is really pretty. I'm looking at your hair on this picture here.
It's great hair.
I'm looking at your video. You're teaching a class, and I'm listening to you. In fact, you said the word subconscious at the same time the words on the screen said subconscious.
That's a sign. It's an omen.
That's an omen, yeah.
We're blessed.
And
I love it.
Do you want to hear something? I'm going to give you a little insight into my inner thing, and probably Robin's too. When we're working to help other people raise money, we're really good at it.
Yeah.
Not so good when it's for ourselves. I think there's a mental block somewhere there.
Well, when I was hearing you talk about the contest of kissing the horse.
Right.
By the way, you won that contest.
I did 3 years ago, but I want to win it again.
Yep.
Right. So when you were describing it originally, you were comparing yourself to really wealthy people and thinking, oh my gosh, this is impossible.
Right.
But then there was something in you that said, wait a minute. My intention, my goal is to win this thing and kiss that horse.
That's right.
So you started focusing on what you wanted, which was to win and kiss the horse, not on defeat because all these other people had money.
It's true.
You moved your attention
That's
to
right.
what you wanted
All of a sudden, in the back of my brain, I can hear the theme for Rocky. Do you hear the theme for Rocky? I can hear it. Dun, 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 dun. I'm going to do this.
Yes.
I'm going to drink those raw eggs, and I'm going to do this.
Right. Well, the next step after writing that gratitude letter is to read it out loud and with emotion. So you're reading it out loud by yourself to the universe. And what that does is anchor it. Anytime anyone reads anything out loud, they remember it more. And when you add emotion to it, there's all sorts of dopamine and things like that that get released in your brain so that you're able to see more possibilities all day long. And plus you feel happier when you're reading about things that are going to manifest in your life. So you go out through the day and always are thinking about your goals. Well, that will attract.
That's true. I do that.
That will end up helping you to realize those goals.
Okay. Well, I'm going to get the book. So is the book, I have a Kindle. Can I get the book on Kindle?
You can. It's available at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, the publisher, which is Hierophant Publishing. Yeah, it's available all over the place.
So when some people write books, and we speak to authors all the time, they are very successful with their books. And probably have nice lives financially because of their books. Music too. We've had music artists as well that sell like a gazillion copies of whatever it is. And they get a few pennies royalty per one, but it works out to a nice total at the end of it.
I like how you encourage people to get all their ducks in a row before they leave their day job.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
That's important.
Oh gosh, yes, absolutely. Well, and one of the things about intuition is we have not been trained as a society to pay much attention to it. It's unseen, and because we don't use it every day, it ends up being unreliable to us. But those successful people whose names I mentioned earlier, Gates, Oprah, Jobs, they use it every day, and so do I. So consequently, I know that I'm always going to be led to take steps along the path to my wealth. And I believe, honestly and truly, that if people follow the 7 steps in all areas of their lives, what will happen is they will be directed aright. So if a new job is something that someone wants with more pay and more prestige and a prize promotion, I would like people to think of it this way, that if they met with someone that was a chairman of a board or their CEO or even a boss, and that boss were to tell them, if you meet with me for 30 minutes every morning, tell me about your goals and follow my advice, I can guarantee that you're going to get that prize promotion and increase in pay. So that if they think of it that way, they might be more consistent.
Right, exactly, yeah.
Yeah. And then they'll recognize when they're being told to do something and when they're not.
Makes sense to me, actually.
Yeah, you are amazing.
What is the elevator pitch part of this? It says, ride your elevator pitch to success with 3 tips.
That's not in the book. My background is I've been part of starting and growing 6 different companies for the last 32 years. And my last 2 were software and equipment for giant hospital systems. I'm also an angel investor, so I look at about 150 different companies a year that would like me to invest in their companies. So I
really. So you're one of the shark. You're
I'm a shark.
I'm
She's
like a little sharkette.
She's a sharkette.
Sharkette. Probably eat the other sharks up. Yeah. Those uglier sharks. You're a prettier shark. You're like a dolphin, not a shark.
You saved the world. I love that.
Yeah.
Wow. And so how do you know? I mean, how do you know when somebody has a good idea that's worth... Do you do it as an investment for yourself, or do you do it just because you want to help them out, or why do you do it?
I do it as an investment for myself. And also, there are some that are philanthropic and social. I just looked at one that has created a very cool kind of a shoulder bag that can carry enough water for a family in Africa. And because they generally have to travel to get their water from a river or what have
that's
you.
wonderful.
Wow.
I love what you're saying there.
They have a UV detector on the bag to tell the people when the sunlight has killed all the bacteria. And it tasted
Wow, May,
cool.
This is why you're successful. You need to be successful because the chief spiritual officer,
Yes.
God, he wants you to do those things.
That's right.
May, thank you so much for being on the air with us. We ran out of time. The website is Bizzults, BIZZULTs.com. I said it right.
Or MayMcCarthy.com.
May McCarthy, just like the month of May and McCarthy. You are welcome back anytime, May. Thank you so much for being on the air with us today.
Oh, thank you both very, very much. Have a great day.
Thank you. We'll be right back.
Hard to establish a dialogue.
And no word if more demonstrations will ramp up again tonight.
Fox Radio's Jeff Manazzo. Another healthcare volunteer who contracted Ebola in West Africa has arrived at the National Institutes of Health in Bethesda, Maryland.
This is the same hospital that treated the first nurse from Dallas to become infected.
We have a group of highly skilled, well-trained, and experienced physicians, technicians, and nurses.
Dr. Anthony Fauci, one of the directors.
Fox Radio's Evan Brown. One person dead, 2 injured after a medical helicopter crash late last night in the woods of eastern Oklahoma. FAA investigators are heading to the scene. Fox News. We report, you decide.
You're running your business, and we at Wix.com know things can get stressful. But creating your website doesn't have to be. With Wix, you can create a professional website all by yourself. It's easy and free. You don't have to be a programmer. Just drag and drop everything into place. It's your website, your style. Show the world what you can do. Go to Wix.com and create your own stunning website today. It's easy and free.
What's the secret to great business trips? Choice Hotels, where you'll find everything a business traveler needs, like a generous rewards program. And right now, choose Choice twice for 2 separate trips and get a night at no price. Stay for business at Choice Hotels and book now at choicehotels.com. Great endings begin here. Free night based on an 8,000-point Choice Privileges Reward night at over 1,500 hotels. Valid 2/19/15 through 4/22/15. Requires registration and 2 separate qualifying stays. Other terms and conditions apply. Details at choicehotels.com.